跨越年代同題材界限，去到非一般嘅戲院欣賞電影藝術。用咖啡渣煮乾式熟成牛扒，帶出從未試過嘅滋味。透過獨特美學帶出每一朵花嘅故事，花藝師以巧手令植物綻放生命。
品味生活有好多方式，而睇戲係其中一種。去到主流戲院可以睇到最新同埋最賣座嘅電影。但係如果你想睇修復電影、實驗紀錄片，更還是係主流戲院未見過嘅藝術作品，咁就一定要嚟到 M+ 戲院啦。Silke, I'm so happy to be speaking with you today. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good as well. Very eager to discuss a little bit about what's happening at the cinema. 咁你可唔可以同我分享下佢個成立目的係咩呢？
Yes, of course. M+ is a very special cinema. First of all, you can see we're seated here in our House 1, which is part of the architect's idea of having 3 very distinct cinema houses within the museum. So this is our biggest theater with 180 seats, and we have a second house with 60 seats and 40 seats. Besides the architecture is also having a cinema in a museum that is very, very special. So there's a lot of crossover with what we program here on the screen and the exhibitions that audiences can see upstairs
In
the museum, and also our public programs and other activities.
M+ 戲院咧去揀唔同嘅電影嗰陣時，同出面主流戲院有啲咩分別啊？
Yeah, I think in the cinema it's probably the most focused experience of how we look at films, and this is the space in the museum where we can show feature-length films or sometimes very durational films, actually of up to 8 hours. That's something that we wouldn't do in a gallery context because people usually will look at many different things. Since we launched it a year ago, so we had many Hong Kong filmmakers to come and speak with us, from Fruit Chan to An Hui. So a lot of local artists, but also international film artists like Claire Denis, a famous French filmmaker. So it's a space where we not only watch films together, but also debate and think about film as a medium. I think what sets us apart in terms of programming from other commercial cinemas or other art house cinemas is that every single program that we put together is thoroughly researched and also put in context on what's going on elsewhere in the museum. So often our film programs have, for example, short films or experimental films, or sometimes even a little advertising that relates to the subject matter. So when audiences come, they will get more than just a screening of a feature-length film.
我都知道咧，春季嘅生態電影選係非常成功嘅。咁有啲咩特別可以同大家分享下呢？
First of all, proud about M+ being able to put together such programs, and to work in this case with a very cross-disciplinary team. We had some very young local curators working with more seasoned, international curators to think about ecology from different angles. So what maybe characterizes in general is that whatever we do is informed by Hong Kong, the place where we are. So this program contains some very concrete local, takes on how we can protect the environment, how we can think more about sustainability. So we had, for example, Lo Lai Lai, Natalie, a local filmmaker who works a lot on farming and fishing. She's a farmer herself, so some very relatable. But then we had also big names like Edward Britansky, thinking more on a global scale about manufacturing, about the endangered environment. Or another highlight in this program was a famous French video artist called Pierre Wieck. He thinks more about the world from a non-human perspective. So this program allowed also to think about how animals might think about the world or non-humans.
大家咧都好期待下季會推出嘅項目啊，可唔可以分享下嚟緊會有啲咩嘅主題啊？
So the program is just out, so I'm pleased to show you this picture with Apichatpong, Vera Sitakul's Uncle Bunmi, an important film from Thailand. So we have several highlights in this summer edition, one of them being cultures from the South. So that's another research area that we look at M+. So we have An Hui's Vietnam trilogy, for example. We have Apichatpong. We also team up with the ASEAN Film Festival to present some works from Southeast Asia. And another very special program is dedicated to animation in Asia. So we will feature early animations from different countries, from the mainland, from Hong Kong with Nicolo, Thailand, South Korea. Again, looking also at some key figures, pioneers. So that's something that we do a lot in the museum, finding the origins of certain forms of expression. So I think this is a really very special program to check out. We also have some masterclasses with a German Super 8 filmmaker, Helga Fundel, who still works with Super 8 film and will project in this cinema from her small projector. So, it's a lot of also performance-based moving image projections in the summer edition.
喺策展呢個戲院嘅過程中，你有啲咩得着啊？
I think what I personally still like the most about cinema is that it's also a social experience. You come to a cinema, you see a film together with an audience, you can talk about it as you walk out of the cinema, you learn something new. You can even go upstairs to see an exhibition that has a relationship with what is on the screen.
Yeah, and that's really a sense of good taste, I believe, in filming as well.
Yes. I mean, I think about M+ as a whole is that we cover all kinds of cultures, from popular culture, from things that are very accessible to very high-end, high-profile artists. And I think it's the range of these different categories or artists and motivations for artists to make work that makes it so exciting.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your sharing, Silke. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to speak with you.
Same. Thank you.
除咗戲院，仲設有多媒體中心，俾影迷免費欣賞超過250部嘅珍藏流動影像作品，一齊嚟睇下。多媒體中心集展廳、圖書館同休憩空間於一身。呢度仲設有唔同大細嘅觀影間，想享受一人之境定同埋3、5知己都一樣滿足到你嘅需要。大家仲可以喺觀影間自由點播作品，跨越唔同年代同種類，包括行為藝術片、紀錄片，甚至獨家嘅嘉賓訪談等。每套藏品都非常珍貴，大家不妨嚟呢度享受多元化嘅視聽體驗，提升藝術品味啦！
香港作為美食天堂，各個料理餐廳遍佈18區。要吸引更多嘅食客，餐廳要喺菜式烹調同埋配搭上發揮創意。
就連喺食材處理方面咧，都要費盡心思。咁乜嘢嘅創意先至可以帶俾大家驚喜咧？
牛扒一直係香港人最愛嘅美食之一，但一塊優質嘅牛扒要講求好多因素，由選擇嘅牛隻、部位、生熟程度等等，都大有學問。近年熟成牛扒更加成為高級嘅代表。一入門口就見到一個好大嘅櫃，呢個櫃有咩用呢？
That is our dry age fridge that was tailor-made and produced in Europe. The function of dry age fridge is to create a temperature control environment in which the meat can be stored and avoiding growth of bacteria that can cause the meat to spoil. Dry-aged beef has more concentrated intense flavor and tenderness compared to normal beef. The dry aging process basically allows natural enzymes to break down the connective tissue of the meat, creating this tenderness. Dry-aged beef has also a darker color exterior, which is formed during the dry aging process. Additionally, unfortunately, the dry-aged beef is typically more expensive than normal beef due to the additional time and effort and expenses required to dry age.
為咗帶嚟頂級滋味，牛肉都係精選，嚟自美國、澳洲同日本等地。除咗食材本身優質， 經過唔同烹調手法、乾式熟成、醬汁等等嘅運用，更加可以將牛肉嘅美味成倍咁放大。
As explained before, basically the steak during the dry aging process, the enzyme break through the tissue, therefore develop different flavor and more tenderness. Of course, when you dry age a steak for 20 days, that will eventually don't develop too much strong umami flavor versus a 60-day or 45 days steaks, which will develop a very stronger flavor. And somehow people, depends always of the people who eat the meat, right? Some people like it more enhanced flavor, some people like more mild flavor. So usually 45 days is actually the right time to try the dry age flavor development.
嗱，呢度咧我哋就有45日自家製乾式熟成嘅 porterhouse。我哋呢邊就有牛柳啦，呢邊就有西冷。我就中意食西冷啦，你咧？
我咩牛扒都中意食嘅。咁我攞俾你先。呢個西冷，咁我咧就攞嚿細嘅西冷，再攞一嚿牛柳比較一下。哇！真係有少少即溶嘅感覺。其實個肉質咁靚咧，我就唔係咁 surprise 嘅，因為廚師團隊咧擺咗好多心機落去 dry age 嘅。好似你話齋，45日，同埋嗰個溫度同濕度咧都控制得好嚴謹嘅。攝氏4至8度，嗰個濕度就大概70%。
即係好嚴謹啊！
係啊。
其實咧，我覺得佢同平時嘅 porterhouse 個味道真係有少少唔同嘅。佢有少少似食緊 roast beef， 你覺唔覺？
同埋我食完咧，留翻喺你嗰個味道咧，有少少似牛油爆谷咁樣。
咁真係好香。
好 rich。每一款牛扒都係廚師團隊精心炮製，令到佢哋獨特嘅原味可以完美綻放。而喺一眾牛扒當中，最特別嘅梗係充滿創意嘅咖啡渣乾式熟成西冷牛扒啦。
So we try to combine the dry aging method together with the coffee ground function, which basically help to enhance the savory flavor from the meat together with the toastiness of the coffee. That's create a very special effect on the beef you will have in your table. And it's something very, very special that we would like to invite you to try. 我哋第二款牛扒咧都係一個 dry age 牛扒嚟嘅，但係呢個 dry age 牛扒咧就冇 dry age 咁耐啦，只係20日嘅啫。但係特別之處咧就係喺 dry age 過程嗰陣時咧，廚師團隊咧係加咗一啲咖啡渣嘅。
其實咧食落去咧，佢個咖啡味唔會話係真係好重啦。但係咧佢有陣咖啡嘅香味啦，你覺唔覺？係啊。而且個汁都好 rich 喎。
rich 嘅，其實我頭先第一啖擺入口咧，我覺得哇好強喎，但係強得嚟又唔係話好似一邊食牛扒一邊飲咖啡咁樣，係啊，但係咧係融合得好好嘅味道。
真係好特別咯！其實好多時咧，我哋嚟餐廳食嘢啦，即係唔係淨係 enjoy 佢個味道嘅。每一碟菜我都覺得背後有好多廚師嘅心思啦，同埋通常都會有佢自己嘅故事咯。
今次仲好有創意添，因為你話食牛扒飲咖啡我就試過啦，但係牛扒裏邊有咖啡嘅 notes 咧，真係第一次啊！飲杯
，Cheers！
結婚、新年、紀念日，唔少人都中意喺節日買花送俾人。但係今時今日，越嚟越多人都講究生活嘅品質。花唔單止係一種儀式，更加可以為平淡嘅生活添上驚喜。隨住花藝走入大眾嘅視野，花開始融入喺我哋嘅生活之中，而花藝師就可以令到花充分展現佢哋嘅魅力，延續花嘅生命。Hello Solomon， 你好。咁你之前都係一位語言學博士，咁點解你會轉做花藝師嘅？
Well, I've always liked flowers. In fact, I've always liked anything that grows, like plants and like small flowers, botanics and stuff like that. And it all first started when I was very young. I used to watch my mom arrange flowers in the church. And when I went to study in the UK, there's a garden at the back at the house where we rented. So I start pottering around, try growing anything from seeds. And then afterwards, when they got flowers, I just try to put them together to see how they look. And that's really taken a hold on me. And I started to look around for courses, study flower arranging, gardening, and that's all began from there.
咁你喺花藝學院係學啲咩㗎？
It's actually very similar to design or graphic design. They teach you the shapes of flowers, different colors, how to combine them. But what's more important with flower arranging is that because they have a limited life and how to prolong them and how to condition them and in fact how to grow them.
I see. 你通常嘅花藝創作靈感係嚟自邊度㗎？
Well, everywhere. I like to look at fashion. I like to look at what people are talking about, like color combination in interiors, architecture, paintings. Basically, inspirations all around.
OK. 咁我都想嘗試花藝創作啊，你可唔可以教我啊？
當然可以啦。
唔同花款嘅配搭可以令到場合嘅氣氛隨意轉換，呢種好似魔術咁嘅變化，就要靠花藝師嘅美術觸覺同技術。咁花藝有好多唔同嘅派別，東西方之間有咩唔同㗎？同埋你中意邊個 style 多啲啊
？I think the major idea about Eastern and Western is that the Eastern style of flower design, we are concentrating and more creating space. Something that's thought-provoking. It's almost like a philosophy. So you kind of meditate with the flower arrangement. But with the Western flower arranging, it's more kind of like a daily life thing. It's more like using colors and using flowers that you can see in the market and just basically make you feel happy. So that's the major difference between the two.
好多花藝嘅展覽都係好大型嘅，咁係咪呢？
No, they don't all have to be very big. Sometimes we can just create something that's very small, very happy, very cozy, and for anywhere in your household. Maybe we can try some of those here.
Okay, sure.
So I think the first idea about flower arranging is that you don't have to be afraid of it. It's actually very, very simple. Just go to the market, pick whatever you want. For a vase such as this size, all we need is about 3 kinds of flowers. One is the major flowers that you like, or maybe now we are in the peony season, so you can just pick up the peonies, or maybe if you like roses, you can pick roses. And then you just need some filler flowers and 1 or 2 pieces of leaves, and that's all you need for a perfect flower arrangement.
Okay.
You can just cut any height that you want. It's actually quite easy sometimes. If you want to judge what is the right length, just make it slightly taller than the vase, and that's all you need.
So usually in flower arrangements, you have to pick a main flower, correct?
Yes, that's right.
And then supporting flowers, I would call it?
Yes.
And how many do you usually need for the supporting flowers?
It's actually a matter of proportion. You can just put it in. Any way you want. If you have main flowers such as this showy fuchsia type, all we need is just a few supporting characters just to show off the beauty. But also you need to pick the right color for it too.
Right, because you don't want it to kind of steal the attention away from the main flowers, correct?
Exactly. And all we need to do is to find some colors that are slightly muted, such as this one. This rose is called Juliet.
Juliet, it's like my name, Juliet.
It's like your name. And this is a garden rose.
Okay.
And it's slightly on the paler side. We've put in all the round-shaped flowers, we might need to contrast it with some smaller flowers, such as these lovely daisies.
So it kind of soothes your entire mood, and you're just focused on creating a beautiful bouquet of flower and nothing else. So it's very soothing in that manner.
Yes, it's actually cleansing, put it that way.
Oh, yes, that's the right,
it's almost
good
like
word.
filtering all your bad mood away and then make yourself feel a lot more refreshed afterwards.
Wow, 大功告成，
好靚啊，
真係好靚啊！
係咪比想象中容易呢？
都係啊，同埋好soothing咯。花藝創作講求大自然嘅季節變化同花嘅時間性。喺香港呢個寸金尺土嘅城市，花藝創作又要面對啲咩嘅困難呢？你提過你之前喺英國嗰度讀過書，同埋都設計過啲花嘅。咁香港同埋英國嗰個氣候都好唔同，咁你要點樣適應㗎？
Yeah, so the UK and Hong Kong, two different climates. The UK is more temperate and then Hong Kong is more tropical. So a lot of compromises have to be made. But you know, from these compromises, sometimes we see opportunities as well. Like say in Hong Kong, we are using a lot more mix of colorful tropicals, flowers such as anthurium as well as birds of paradise to mix into more temperate climate flowers such as roses and irises. So this mix, I think, gives a very new identity to the Hong Kong flower arranging as well.
你點樣睇花藝嘅 global trend 啊？
Yes, we are going green all the way in floristry around the world, environmentally sustainable. Flowers, organically grown flowers, using less packaging are all the big trends at the moment. You know, it's taking from nature, but at the same time giving back.
I love that because, as you know, ESG is very trending right now, and I love that floristry can go hand in hand with sustainability.
Definitely.
And thank you so much for your time today, Solomon.
Thank you.